Hello guys, and welcome to another tutorial. Today, I will be teaching the basics of functions in Roblox. The final script will be in the description. Let's start. So first, make sure you have Explorer and Properties open, then we'll create a script and I'll rename it to Functions. Ignore the other scripts, they're from my other tutorials. So first, what are functions? So let's say you want to create 3 parts. Now, you could do that by copy and pasting the code 3 times, but there's a much better and cleaner way of doing that with functions. Now, you can also connect certain events to functions, like when a player joins the game. I'll show you soon enough. When creating a function, we write local function just like we do with variables. Using local is better because it improves performance. You don't need to worry about global functions for now, just know that local is much better to use. I made a variable called part. Now you might be wondering what this Instance.new is. We use Instance.new to create an object in the game. We don't need to create parts. We can also create values, attachments, text labels, and much more. Now, we did create this part, but we haven't told the game where to put it. To make it visible in the game, we'll parent it to workspace. Objects can be parented to any service like replicated storage, server storage, and starter GUI. We can also rename the created part to something else. Let's say we want our part to be named SpecialPart. Let's also make it red using color 3 from RGB. I personally like using from RGB way more than color 3.New. The difference between the two is the fact that in new, you use values from 0 to 1 in decimals, but in from RGB, you use values from 0 to 255. Let's also move its position so it's not under the spawn location. We will change its position using vector3.new. Vector3new is also used for size. It consists of x, y, and z. The first number is x, which determines whether a part is left or right. The second is y, which determines whether a part up or down. And finally, z determines whether the part is front or back. Let's also change the size while we're at it. All right, now we're done with this code. So what functions actually do is they store this code we made into one word, which is create in my case. As you can see, we can hide the code by clicking this arrow over here. Now all we need to do is call this function 3 times if we want to create 3 parts, although they will have the exact same properties. To call a function, all you need to do is just write the name you made and add these brackets outside of the function itself. That's all. And like I said, we can also connect certain events to functions. For example, we connected the player added event to a function by writing connect and function in the brackets. Inside the brackets, we wrote PLR, which is the player that joined. Some events, like this one, give us certain values, and we need to include them in the brackets after the word function. This isn't only for the player added event. In the touched event, which is called when something touches a part, the value in the brackets defines the object that touched the part. Let's test this now. I'm going to wait 1 second before calling the function. I'm going to run the game. Now, this is a bit different than playtesting the game. This doesn't spawn you as a player, it runs on the server. You'll see. And as you can see, the red part spawned after 1 second. So our function worked. Okay, now let's say I want to create two parts that have different properties. I could do that by creating two different functions, but there's also a better way to do that. Let's say I want the two parts to have different colors and positions. So, you have probably noticed that every function has these brackets. Well, you can actually put things inside these brackets. We call these things parameters. They act like values that can be used in a function. For example, if I want each part to have a different position and color, I can add two parameters, one called position and one called color. You can have as many parameters as you need. For this to work, we're going to assign the position of the part to the position parameter and the color of the part to the color parameter. This is because we're going to be changing the values when we call the function. And now, when we call the function, we have to give these parameters values. So our first one is position, which means we have to assign the position first. How do we do that? With vector3.new, and we'll assign the color with color3 just like before. I said I wanted two parts, so we're going to call the same function twice, but change the values. Before we run this, I'm going to anchor both parts so they don't fall down. And as we can see, there's the green part, but the pink part is under the base plate, since I put it that way. And that's it for today's video. I hope this video helped you understand functions. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comments. Peace out.